The Indiana Fever just shocked the WNBA world, again. And this time, they did it without Caitlin Clark on the floor. That's right, no Caitlin, no problem. Because Lexie Hull and Kelsey Mitchell just stepped up in the most electric way possible and completely dismantled the Washington Mystics, turning what many expected to be a struggle into a statement win. You could call it an upset, a surprise, or maybe even a warning shot, but one thing's for sure, this was personal. The Fever weren't just playing to win, they were playing to prove a point, and the Mystics, well, they just got steamrolled. Let's get this out of the way early. All eyes were on Caitlin Clark, or rather, her absence. She sat out this game, listed as inactive, and it sent waves through the WNBA fan base. A lot of people were ready to write off Indiana without their biggest name. But for the players who suited up tonight, that doubt, that just lit a fire under them. Because Lexie Hull came out like she had something to prove to every single person watching. From the opening tip, her energy was unmatched. She was diving for loose balls, cutting hard, moving without the rock like her life depended on it. And when the Fever needed someone to get hot, Lexie was that spark. She dropped a career high. Performance, and it wasn't just about the numbers. It was the way she played. Aggressive, fearless, and unapologetic. Whether it was knocking down threes, attacking closeouts, or locking down on defense, Lexie Hull showed exactly why she's on this roster. And when the Mystics tried to turn up the physicality, she didn't back down. She bullied the Bullies. Simple as that. But while Hull was making noise, Kelsey Mitchell was doing what Kelsey Mitchell does. Get buckets. Smooth, surgical, and cold-blooded. Kelsey was the veteran force Indiana needed. Her mid-range jumper was automatic. Her three-ball was deadly, and she picked apart the Mystics' defense possession after possession. You could see the frustration. In Washington's body language, they just didn't have an answer for her, and it wasn't just scoring. Kelsey's leadership was on full display. She was vocal, directing traffic, demanding more from her teammates, and setting the tone on both ends. Whenever the Mystics tried to make a run, Mitchell responded. Whether it was a dagger three or a clutch free throw, she shut the door time and time again. And if you've been watching this team over the past few years, you know Kelsey Mitchell has been through it all. Coaching changes, losing seasons, rebuilding rosters, and she's never stopped grinding. Tonight was a reminder that while Caitlin Clark may be the future, Kelsey Mitchell is still the heart of this team. Now let's talk about the defense. Indiana came into this game ready to scrap. They were physical, disciplined, and aggressive. Every screen was fought through. Every rotation was tight. The Mystics couldn't find rhythm. And the Fever made it their mission to disrupt everything. Ariel Atkins tried to take control early for Washington, and to her credit, she had moments. But Indiana's defense swarmed her. Every shot was contested, every pass pressured. When Shakira Austin tried to assert herself in the paint, she met a wall. Aaliyah Boston held it down in the middle like a veteran, anchoring the defense with poise and toughness. Even without Caitlin Clark, the ball movement was sharp. Grace Berger played with confidence, distributing the ball and hitting timely shots. Nalissa Smith ran the floor hard and brought the kind of energy that's contagious. And then there was Temi Fagbenle. What a presence! She brought a physicality off the bench that helped shift the tempo when Indiana needed to regroup. This wasn't just about individual performances. It was about a team deciding they weren't going to be pushed around. Because here's the truth. The Fever have taken a lot of heat this season. Media scrutiny, internet criticism, everything that comes with being the team that drafted Caitlin Clark. But on this night, they were more than just Clark's team. They were a unit, hungry, motivated, and absolutely fearless. Let's not ignore the narrative surrounding this game either. When Caitlin Clark is out, there's this assumption that Indiana can't hang. But tonight, that myth got shattered. The Mystics came in expecting an easier matchup, and they left with their heads down. You could see the frustration boiling over bad fouls, missed assignments, even body language on the bench that screamed defeat. That's what happens when you underestimate a team that's been counted out too many times. And speaking of being counted out, let's circle back to Lexie Hull. Because for her to have this kind of performance at this point in her career, that's a massive statement. She's been a role player, someone who quietly does the little things. But tonight, she showed she can be much more than that. She didn't just score, she took over. And in a league where confidence and opportunity go hand in hand, tonight might have been her breakthrough moment. The Fever's bench was electric the entire night. They were hyped after every play, celebrating each other, feeding off the crowd, and the crowd, oh, they showed up. Without Caitlin, some thought the arena would be quiet. Instead, it felt like a playoff atmosphere. Every bucket was met with roars. Every defensive stop, thunder. It was the kind of energy that reminds you why the WNBA is growing, why it matters, and why it's becoming must-watch basketball. Let's be real. This win wasn't just a W in the standings. It was a message to the league, to the media, to every doubter who thinks Indiana is one-dimensional. Because this team just beat a physical Mystic squad by being tougher, smarter, and more cohesive. They didn't fluke their way into a win. They earned it, and they did it without the biggest name on the court. Now, what does this mean moving forward? First, it gives Indiana something even more dangerous than talent. Belief. Belief that they can win without depending on one star. Belief that their supporting cast can rise to the moment. Belief that they're not just passengers on Caitlin Clark's journey, they're co-pilots. That kind of belief can change the course of a season. For Lexie Hull, this game could redefine her role. For Kelsey Mitchell, it reinforces her legacy. And for the Fever as a franchise, this is a culture-setting moment. Winning without your star player isn't easy, but doing it with this kind of fire and execution, that's how teams grow. That's how contenders are born. On the other side, the Mystics have some serious soul-searching to do. They came into this game expecting to take advantage of a weakened Fever roster, and they got outworked. The body language was off. The communication broke down. And when things got physical, they didn't respond well. The Mystics are better than what they showed, but tonight, they got exposed. The final buzzer wasn't just the end of a game. It was the exclamation point on a story that nobody saw coming. No Clark, no excuses. Indiana Fever showed up and put on a show. Lexie Hull with the breakout game of her life. Kelsey Mitchell reminding everyone why she's one of the league's elite scorers. And a supporting cast that brought intensity, chemistry, and grit. This team isn't just waiting for Caitlin Clark to carry them. They're building something. And if tonight is any indication, they're going to be a problem, now and in the future. So for everyone who tuned in expecting a letdown, what you got instead was a wake-up call. Indiana Fever are deeper than the headlines, stronger than the spotlight. And if you thought this team was all about one player, tonight they just proved you couldn't be more wrong.